Captain Do-hyun Kim stood on the bridge of his ship, looking at the stars through the big window. His ship was called Harmony's Voice, and it was fast moving through space toward another emergency call. Do-hyun had been doing this job for 12 years now. Every time his radio made that sound, it meant someone was in trouble and needed help. "Captain," said Lieutenant Tae-ho Lee from his chair at the communication desk, "we are getting close to the Rilani colonies. But sir, I am not hearing any signals from them." Do-hyun felt a cold feeling in his stomach. No signals usually meant very bad news. "How long until we arrive?" 20 minutes, sir." Do-hyun walked over to where Dr. Yoon-ji Choi was working at her computer. She was the smartest person he knew about alien life and cultures. "Doctor, what do you know about the Rilani people?" Dr. Choi looked up from her screen with sad eyes. "They are peaceful farmers, Captain. They grow food for many worlds in this area. They never fight anyone and they help everyone who asks. And the Vorthak Empire, they are the opposite. They take what they want and kill anyone who says no. They have been growing bigger and stronger for 5 years now." The ship came out of faster-than-light travel with a soft shake. Everyone looked at the main screen. What they saw made them all feel sick. Where the Rilani colonies should have been, there were only pieces of broken buildings floating in space. The beautiful green worlds that the Rilani had built were now gray and dead. Fires were still burning on the surface of the planet, sir, Tae-ho said in a quiet voice. "I am scanning for any survivors. I am finding nothing. No life signs anywhere." Do-hyun closed his eyes for a moment. This was the 15th time in 3 years that they had arrived too late. Each time the Galactic Council had talked and talked about what to do, but they never did anything fast enough. "Send a message to Ambassador So-young Park on Earth," Do-hyun said. "Tell her we need to talk to the Galactic Council right away." 3 days later, Ambassador Park stood in the Great Hall where the Galactic Council met. The room was huge and filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked like giant insects, others like walking trees, and some were just balls of light that floated in the air. "Friends of the Council," Ambassador Park said, her voice clear and strong. "We must talk about what happened to the Rilani people." A large alien that looked like a purple elephant made a sound that meant he wanted to speak. "We are very sad about the Rilani, but we must be careful not to start a bigger war." "Careful?" Park said, her voice getting louder. "The Vorthak Empire has destroyed 15 peaceful worlds in 3 years. They are using weapons that were made from human medical technology. Technology we gave them to help sick people, not to make weapons." The floating balls of light made musical sounds to each other. One of them spoke. "We understand your anger, Ambassador Park, but we must think about this more. Maybe we can send a message to the Vorthak asking them to stop." Park felt anger growing in her chest, but she tried to stay calm. "We have sent 47 messages to the Vorthak. They laugh at us and keep killing." A tall alien that looked like a walking stick bug clicked its voice parts together. "Perhaps humans could go talk to them." "You are very good at making peace." Park stared at the alien. That was the problem. Every time there was trouble, everyone expected humans to fix it. Humans had been the peacekeepers of the galaxy for 200 years. They were the ones who went into dangerous places to save people. They were the ones who brought food to hungry worlds and medicine to sick ones. But what did they get for this? Other species sat safely in their homes while humans died trying to help everyone else. "We will think about what to do," said the council leader, a very old alien that looked like a giant turtle. "This meeting is finished." Park left the building feeling angry and tired. She had seen this same thing happen many times before. The council would talk for months while more innocent people died. Back on his ship, Captain Kim was reading reports from Dr. Choi. What she had found made him very angry. "Captain," Dr. Choi said, "I have been studying the weapons the Vorthak used on the Rilani. They are definitely made from our medical machines. But that is not the worst part." "What is the worst part?" "Someone had to teach them how to change our healing machines into killing machines. Someone who understands human technology very well." Lieutenant Lee looked up from his computer. "Captain, I have been listening to secret communications between different alien governments. I think you need to hear this." Lee played a recording. The voices were speaking in different alien languages, but the computer translated them into human words. "The humans will clean this up like they always do." "Good. Let them deal with the Vorthak while we make money selling weapons to both sides. The humans are so stupid. They think everyone wants peace like they do. As long as they keep being the galaxy's police force, we can do whatever we want. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what they had just heard. For 200 years, humans had believed they were helping to make the galaxy a better place. But really, other species were just using them. Dr. Choi made another discovery that made everything worse. "Captain, I found something terrible. Human DNA has been stolen and sold across the galaxy. Some species have been using it to make hybrid soldiers. Others have been making biological weapons from it." "How is that possible?" Kim asked. "Every time we help refugees or give medical aid, we leave behind blood samples and tissue samples. Instead of destroying them like they promised, some species kept them and sold them." Kim felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. Humans had been giving their blood to help heal alien children, and those same aliens had been selling human DNA to make weapons. That night, Kim got a call that changed everything. Lieutenant Lee's face appeared on the screen and he looked like he had been crying. "Captain, you need to know something. The refugee ship New Hope was attacked by the Vorthak 3 hours ago. Are there survivors?" "No, sir. All 50,000 people on that ship are dead. Men, women, children, all of them." Kim felt the world spinning around him. The New Hope had been carrying refugees from 15 different worlds that humans had tried to save. These were people who had lost their homes because the Council was too slow to act, and now they were all dead. "Sir, there is more. The Vorthak recorded the attack and sent it to every world in the galaxy. They wanted everyone to see what they did. Why would they do that? To show that no one is safe. Not even under human protection." Kim sat down in his chair and put his head in his hands. 50,000 innocent people were dead because humans had tried to help them. And somewhere in the galaxy, other species were probably happy because it meant humans would work even harder to keep everyone safe. The next day, Ambassador Park stood in front of the Galactic Council again. But this time she was not asking for help. She was saying goodbye. "For 200 years, Park said, her voice cold as space, humanity has been your peacekeepers, your negotiators, your fixers. When you had problems, you called us. When you needed someone to die for your safety, you sent us. When you wanted someone to blame for your failures, you pointed at us." The council members started making worried sounds. "We offered our hand in friendship, and you used it to wipe your feet. We gave you our blood to heal your children, and you sold it to make weapons. We died to protect your refugees, and you let them be murdered for your political games." Park looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some looked guilty. Others looked angry. Most just looked confused. "No more," Park said. "Humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We will no longer be your servants. We will no longer clean up your messes. What happens next is your responsibility." She turned and walked toward the door. "Wait," called the council leader. "You cannot leave. Who will keep the peace? Who will stop the wars?" Park stopped and looked back one last time. "You should have thought of that before you decided to treat us like your slaves. Good luck." The door closed behind her with a sound that echoed through the Great Hall. For the first time in 200 years, the galaxy was on its own. 6 months after Ambassador Park walked out of the Galactic Council, the galaxy was falling apart. Without humans to solve problems, 3 big wars had started. Species that had always relied on human protection were being attacked and conquered. Fear spread from world to world like a sickness. General Wu Jinhan stood in the command center on Earth, watching reports come in from across the galaxy. He had once been a diplomat like Ambassador Park, but those days were over. Now he was planning something very different. "General," said Admiral Mirei Song, walking up to his desk, "the Council has sent another group of messengers to Earth. They want to talk." "What did they want this time?" Han asked, not looking up from his papers. "The same thing as always. They want us to come back and save them." Han finally looked up. His eyes were cold and angry. "And what did you tell them?" "I told them to wait. Just like they made all those refugees wait for help that never came." The door to the command center opened, and Captain Kim walked in. But he was not a captain anymore. Now he was Admiral Kim, and he was in charge of all human military forces in space. "General Han," Kim said, "I have finished looking at the intelligence reports. You were right about everything." "Show me," Han said. Kim activated a big display screen that showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked places where wars were happening. Blue dots showed worlds that were being conquered. Yellow dots showed places where innocent people were dying while waiting for help. "This is what we found," Kim said. "For the last 50 years, there has been a secret network of alien governments working together. They have been starting wars on purpose. Why would they do that? Admiral Song asked. Money and power, Kim replied. They sell weapons to both sides of every war. They make money from rebuilding worlds after the wars end, and they get more political power because everyone is too busy fighting to question what they do. Engineer Jae-sung Ko, who had been working quietly at a computer, looked up. Admiral, show them the worst part. Kim touched the screen and new information appeared. The secret network has been using humans as their army. Every time they started a war, they knew humans would come to help the innocent people. This meant they could start as many wars as they wanted without getting their own hands dirty. Han slammed his fist on the desk. They used our kindness as a weapon. It gets worse, said Intelligence Chief Yuna Shin, joining the group. We found records showing that some council species have been selling information to aggressors. They would tell the bad guys when human ships were coming and how many people were on refugee ships. Admiral Song felt sick. They helped plan the attack on the New Hope? Yes, they knew exactly when and where that ship would be. They made sure the Vorthak could find it easily. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about the 50,000 innocent people who had died, and how their own supposed allies had helped kill them. What do we do now? Admiral Song asked. General Han smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had learned a terrible lesson and was ready to teach it to others. Now we show the galaxy what happens when humans stop being nice. Sir, Kim asked. For 200 years we have been the galaxy's police force. We rushed to help anyone who called for aid. We negotiated peace treaties. We gave medical help and food to anyone who needed it. And what did we get? Betrayal, Admiral Song said quietly. Exactly, but they made one big mistake. They thought our kindness meant we were weak. They forgot that humans became the galaxy's peacekeepers because we were the best at solving problems. All kinds of problems. Engineer Ko looked up from his computer. General, should I show them the new technologies? Yes. It is time they learned what we have really been doing for the last 200 years. Ko activated another screen. This one showed blueprints and designs for weapons and ships that looked nothing like the peaceful vessels humans usually used. While we were being diplomats and peacekeepers, Ko explained, we were also preparing for the day when diplomacy failed. We have been developing military technology in secret for 2 centuries. The screen showed images of weapons that could destroy entire fleets, shields that could protect whole planets, and ships that could move faster and hit harder than anything else in the galaxy. We always hoped we would never need these things, Ko continued. But we are not stupid. We knew that someday someone would try to take advantage of our peaceful nature. Admiral Kim pointed to one of the weapon designs. This one can age metal and destroy ships by making them fall apart in seconds. This one can turn a planet's own atmosphere into a weapon against anyone on the surface. And this one, he paused. This one can make stars explode. Everyone stared at the screen. They had known that human scientists were smart, but this was beyond what they had imagined. The question now, General Han said, is how we use these tools. Intelligence Chief Shin brought up a new display. I suggest we start with a demonstration. The Vorthak Empire is still attacking innocent worlds. They ignored our warnings and they think we are too weak to stop them. What kind of demonstration? Admiral Song asked. Their main fleet is gathered around their homeworld, Shin explained. 47 of their biggest warships all in one place. They think they are safe because no one has ever attacked them on their home ground. General Han nodded. Admiral Kim, take a small fleet to the Vorthak homeworld. Show them what human military technology can really do. How small a fleet, sir? 1 ship should be enough. 3 days later, Admiral Kim's ship came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Vorthak system. His ship was called Justice, and it looked very different from the peaceful Harmony's voice that he used to command. The Vorthak detected his ship immediately. 47 enemy warships turned toward him, ready to fight. The Vorthak commander sent a message. Stupid human. You bring 1 small ship against our entire fleet. We will destroy you and then destroy your homeworld. Kim opened a communication channel to reply. This is Admiral Kim of the human military fleet. You have 48 hours to surrender all military forces and turn over everyone responsible for the murder of innocent civilians. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why humans have been the galaxy's peacekeepers for 200 years. The Vorthak commander laughed so hard that his whole body shook. 48 hours? We will destroy you in 48 minutes. Your choice, Kim said, and closed the communication. The Vorthak fleet moved toward Kim's ship like a huge pack of space wolves. Their weapons were charged and ready to fire. They had enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Kim waited until they were close enough, then activated the new human weapon. A wave of energy shot out from his ship. It was invisible, but its effects were not. The first Vorthak ship that the wave touched began to change. The metal hull started to rust and crack. Within seconds, the entire ship aged 100 years and fell apart into pieces. The wave kept spreading. Ship after ship began to age and crumble. The Vorthak crews watched in horror as their mighty fleet turned into floating scrap metal. In less than 10 minutes, all 47 Vorthak warships were destroyed. Not a single shot had been fired by traditional weapons. The human ship had simply made them too old to exist. Kim opened a communication channel to the Vorthak homeworld. You now have 47 hours and 50 minutes to surrender. The next demonstration will be on your planet's surface. The response came back in less than an hour. We surrender. Please do not destroy our world. But Kim was not finished with his demonstration. He wanted to make sure the message was heard across the entire galaxy. You will surrender all weapons and turn over all war criminals, Kim said. You will also provide information about every species that helped you attack innocent people. And you will pay compensation to the families of everyone you murdered. Yes, anything you want. Kim activated his ship's communication system to broadcast across the galaxy. Every species would hear this message. This is Admiral Kim of the human military fleet. For 200 years, humans have offered peace and friendship to all species. Some of you took advantage of our kindness. Some of you used our help to start wars and kill innocent people. Some of you sold our own blood to make weapons against us. He paused to let that sink in. Those days are over. Humans are no longer your servants. We are no longer your cleanup crew. From now on, we will solve problems our own way. Species that want peace will get peace. Species that want war will get something else entirely. Back on Earth, General Han and his team watched the broadcast with satisfaction. How many species do you think heard that message? Admiral Song asked. All of them, Intelligence Chief Shin replied. And they are all very scared right now. Good, Han said. Fear will make them think more clearly than kindness ever did. Dr. Choi, who had been working on analyzing alien cultures, looked up from her computer. General, I am getting reports from across the galaxy. The species that were part of the secret network are starting to panic. Some are trying to destroy evidence of their crimes. Others are blaming each other. Let them panic, Han said. We have much more work to do. Engineer Ko brought up a list on his screen. I have identified 43 species that were definitely part of the conspiracy. Should we contact them? Not yet, Han replied. First, we gather all the evidence. Then we give them a choice. Face justice or face the consequences. Admiral Kim's voice. The news of what happened to the Vorthak fleet spread across the galaxy faster than light. Within days, every species knew that humans had destroyed 47 warships with a single vessel using weapons no one had ever seen before. Fear moved through alien governments like a plague. Species that had once ignored human requests were now sending desperate messages begging for meetings. But General Han was not interested in meetings anymore. Cyber warfare specialist Bora Im, Han called from his command chair. Are you ready to begin the cleansing? Bora looked up from her bank of computers. She was young, but her skills with digital warfare were legendary among humans. Yes, sir. I have mapped every computer network, every communication system, and every data storage facility used by the conspiracy species. How long to break into all of them? I already have. I have been inside their systems for 3 months copying files and watching their communications. They have no idea. Han smiled. It was not a kind smile. Show me what you found. The main display screen filled with documents, recordings, and financial records. The evidence of betrayal was overwhelming. Alien species had been selling weapons to both sides of wars, selling human DNA to make biological weapons, and deliberately starting conflicts so they could profit from human intervention. Look at this, Bora said, pointing to one section of the screen. The Terralan Syndicate has made over 40 billion credits by selling human refugees to slave markets. They would request human help to evacuate people from war zones, then sell half of those people instead of taking them to safety. Admiral Song, who was standing nearby, felt sick. How many people? Over 2 million in the last 50 years. And this, Bora continued, showing another set of documents. The Kepan Republic has been harvesting human blood and tissue samples from every medical aid mission. They have created a whole industry around making weapons from human DNA. Intelligence Chief Shin studied the data. How many species were involved in this? 43 were active conspirators. Another 67 knew what was happening, but chose to stay quiet. Only 32 species in the entire galaxy were truly innocent. General Han stood up. Then we know who our friends are and who our enemies are. Begin phase 1 of the cleansing. Across the galaxy, something unprecedented began to happen. Computer systems belonging to conspiracy species started failing in very specific ways. Their military networks went down. Their financial systems crashed. Their communication networks became useless, but it was not random destruction. Every system failed in exactly the way that would cause the most problems for criminal activities while leaving innocent civilians mostly unaffected. Slave markets found that their computer records had been sent to every news organization in the galaxy. Weapons dealers discovered that their secret manufacturing facilities had been marked with tracking beacons that human ships could see from light years away. Politicians who had taken bribes found their private communications broadcast on public networks. Within a week, chaos spread through the conspiracy species. Their governments could not function. Their militaries could not coordinate. Their economies collapsed as evidence of their crimes became public. The Terralan Syndicate was the first to try fighting back. They sent a fleet of 30 ships to attack a human colony, thinking that humans would negotiate if their own people were threatened. They were wrong. Black Ops Commander Hyejin Nam was waiting for them with a fleet of 5 human ships. But these were not the peaceful vessels that humans had used for diplomatic missions. These were pure war machines built with technology that had been developed in secret for 2 centuries. The battle lasted exactly 11 minutes. When it was over, the Terralan fleet no longer existed. Commander Nam had not just destroyed their ships. She had used nanite weapons that broke down the enemy vessels at the molecular level, turning them into clouds of harmless dust. But she was not finished. Nam's ships followed the energy signatures back to the Terralan homeworld. There they found the slave markets, where human refugees had been sold. Nam sent a message to the Terralan government. You have 1 hour to release every human, slave, and surrender everyone involved in the slave trade. If you refuse, we will demonstrate what human justice looks like. The Terralan leaders tried to negotiate. They offered money, technology, and promises to never do it again. Nam's response was simple. You had 200 years to choose cooperation. You chose exploitation. Time is up. When the hour ended, Nam's ships began their work. Using precision weapons, they destroyed every facility involved in the slave trade. Every ship that had carried human slaves was turned to dust. Every building where humans had been held was reduced to atoms, but they did not harm innocent Terralan civilians. The human weapons were so precise that they could destroy a slave market while leaving the hospital next door completely untouched. The message was clear. Humans could strike anyone, anywhere at any time, and they could be as surgical or as devastating as they chose. Engineer Ko reported to General Han from his research facility. Sir, we have completed the development of the stellar manipulation technology. Tell me about it, Han said. We can cause any star to become unstable and explode. The process takes about 6 hours from initiation to nova. We can also reverse the process if we start within the first 4 hours. Range? Unlimited. We can target any star in the galaxy from Earth. Han nodded. This was the ultimate weapon, the ability to destroy entire solar systems. But he hoped they would never need to use it. Sir, Intelligence Chief Shin reported, we are receiving surrender requests from 12 conspiracy species. They want to negotiate terms. What kind of terms are they offering? Complete surrender of all military forces, full reparations to human victims, and submission to human oversight of their governments. Han thought about this. Some species were learning the lesson quickly, but others were still trying to find ways to fight back or escape consequences. Accept the surrenders from species that can prove they were minor participants in the conspiracy. For the major conspirators, we need a different approach. Diplomatic Corps leader Jin Woo Kang entered the command center. He had once been a peaceful negotiator, but 200 years of betrayal had changed him just like it had changed all humans. General, Jin Woo said, I have a proposal for dealing with the major conspirators. Go ahead. We give them a choice. They can face trial in a human court for their crimes against humanity, or they can face military action. But we make it clear that military action means complete destruction of their civilization. You think they will choose trial? Some will. Others will try to fight. The ones who choose trial can be reformed and eventually allowed to rebuild under human supervision. The ones who choose to fight, Jinwoo shrugged. They will serve as examples to everyone else. Han approved the plan. Within days, human ships appeared in the home systems of the major conspiracy species. Each received the same message. You are guilty of crimes against humanity and against innocent life throughout the galaxy. You have profited from suffering and betrayed those who trusted you. You have two choices: surrender for trial and possible redemption, or face military action and certain destruction. You have 24 hours to decide. The responses varied. Some species, like the Macaroni Trade Federation, immediately surrendered and begged for mercy. They provided complete records of their crimes and offered to make any reparations humans demanded. Others, like the Zephon Military Alliance, chose to fight. They gathered their fleets and prepared for war, believing that their superior numbers would overwhelm the humans. They learned that numbers mean nothing when facing superior technology and absolute determination. The Zephon had assembled over 300 warships to defend their homeworld. It was the largest fleet ever gathered by a single species. They were confident that even human technology could not overcome such overwhelming force. Admiral Kim arrived with exactly one ship. The Zephon commander sent a mocking message: one ship against 300? You humans are even more arrogant than we thought. Kim's response was broadcast across the galaxy so everyone could hear. You are criminals who profited from murder and slavery. You chose war over justice. This is the consequence of that choice. Kim activated the stellar manipulation weapon. The Zephon's star began to change color, shifting from yellow to orange to red. Everyone in the system could see it happening. The star was becoming unstable. Stop! The Zephon commander screamed. We surrender. Too late, Kim replied. You had your chance to choose justice. You chose war instead. 6 hours later, the Zephon star went nova. The explosion destroyed every planet, every ship, and every living thing in the system. An entire civilization was erased from existence in minutes. But Kim was not finished with his message. Before the star exploded, he had used transporters to remove every innocent civilian from the system. Children, elderly, and anyone who had not been involved in the conspiracy. These survivors were taken to refugee centers run by the species that had surrendered for trial. Let this be understood by all, Kim broadcast to the galaxy. Humans do not murder innocents, but those who profit from murder and slavery will face justice. Absolute justice. The effect across the galaxy was immediate. The galaxy had split into 3 groups. Some species had surrendered to human authority and were trying to rebuild under human supervision. Others had formed the anti-human coalition and were preparing for a final war against humanity. The remaining species were caught in the middle, too afraid to choose either side. Psychological warfare expert Dong-Min Yu stood in the Human Command Center, studying reports from across the galaxy. His job was to understand how different species thought, and to find ways to break their will to fight without killing them. General Han, Dong-Min said, the coalition species are trying to convince themselves that humans are just lucky. They think our victories so far have been because we surprised them. What do they plan to do about it? Han asked. They are building the largest military force in galactic history, over 2,000 ships from 15 different species, all coming together to attack Earth directly. Fleet Admiral Chang Ho Bai, who had just arrived from inspecting the Sol system's defenses, laughed. Let them come. They have no idea what they will find here. Chang Ho was right. While humans had been conquering conspiracy species across the galaxy, they had also been turning their home system into the most powerful fortress ever created. Mars was no longer just a planet. It had been converted into a massive weapons platform covered with energy cannons, missile launchers, and shield generators. The red planet could now destroy entire fleets by itself. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had been transformed into a swarm of automated defense drones. Millions of small, fast ships that could work together to overwhelm any attacking force. Jupiter's moons had been turned into shipyards and fleet bases. Hidden in the gas giant's radiation field were over 5,000 human warships, the largest fleet ever assembled by any single species. But the most impressive change was Earth itself. The planet now sat inside a protective sphere made of pure energy. Nothing could reach Earth's surface without human permission. "How long until the coalition arrives?" General Han asked. 3 days, Admiral Chang Ho replied. "They are coming out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. They want to give us time to surrender." "How thoughtful of them," Han said with a cold smile. "What is our response?" "I suggest we let them get close enough to see what we have built here. The psychological impact will be worth more than destroying them at long range." Han agreed. "But first I want to talk to them. Maybe some of them can still learn." When the coalition fleet arrived at the Sol system, they found something that shocked them. Earth's solar system looked nothing like the peaceful home of diplomatic humans they had expected. The coalition commander, a giant insect-like being from the Rex Empire, sent a message to Earth. "Humans, we have come to end your reign of terror. Surrender now and we will allow some of you to live as our slaves." General Han responded personally. "This is General Han of the Human Defense Force. You are entering the Sol system without permission. Turn around and leave and no harm will come to you. You are outnumbered 10-1, the Vrex commander replied. "We have 2,000 ships. You cannot defeat us. You are welcome to try," Han said calmly. The coalition fleet began moving toward Earth, confident in their overwhelming numbers. But as they got closer, they began to see the defenses that humans had built. Mars opened fire first. Thousands of energy beams reached out across space, each one powerful enough to destroy a city. Coalition ships began exploding before they could even return fire. Then the asteroid belt came alive. Millions of defense drones swarmed toward the coalition fleet like angry insects. Each drone was small, but together they formed clouds of death that could strip a warship down to its frame in minutes. The coalition tried to fight back, but their weapons barely scratched the human defenses. Meanwhile, human weapons were destroying their ships faster than they could count. In less than an hour, half the coalition fleet was gone. The survivors tried to retreat, but human ships from Jupiter's moons had moved to block their escape routes. "This is impossible," the Vrex commander screamed into his communicator. "No one has this much firepower." Admiral Kim's voice came back calm and steady. "Did you think we spent 200 years as peacekeepers without learning how to fight wars? We hoped we would never need these weapons. You made that hope impossible. Please," the commander begged. "We surrender." "Too late," Kim replied. "You chose war over peace. You chose to threaten our homeworld. This is the consequence. The human fleet closed in from all sides. What followed was not a battle, it was an execution. The coalition had brought 2,000 ships to destroy humanity. None of them made it home, but the humans were not finished with their demonstration. They used their stellar manipulation technology to send a message to every species in the galaxy. 3 stars in coalition territory began to change color at the same time. Everyone could see them becoming unstable. Then General Han's voice was broadcast across the galaxy. "Citizens of all species, this is General Han of the Human Defense Force. The anti-human coalition chose to attack our homeworld with the intent to destroy humanity. They believed that superior numbers would overcome superior strategy and technology. They were wrong." The 3 stars exploded simultaneously, destroying the coalition's most important military bases and weapon factories. "Let this be understood by all," Han continued. "Humans do not want to rule the galaxy through fear. We want to build a galaxy where peace is possible and betrayal has consequences. Species that choose cooperation will prosper. Species that choose war will face the full power of human military technology." After the destruction of the coalition, the remaining neutral species quickly made their choice. Within days, every government in the galaxy had either surrendered to human authority or requested protection under human supervision. But General Han was not satisfied with military victory alone. The galaxy needed to be rebuilt, and that meant making sure the mistakes of the past could never happen again. Dr. Choi had been working on plans for post-war reconstruction. She presented her ideas to the human leadership. "We need to understand why the galaxy became so corrupt," she explained. "It was not just greed or evil. The old system made corruption profitable and honesty dangerous." "How do we fix that?" Han asked. "We changed the rules completely. Instead of hundreds of independent governments competing for resources, we create a single galactic government under human leadership. All trade, all technology transfer, All military action must be approved by humans. Engineer Ko had been working on the technological side of reconstruction. We can monitor everything, he said. Every communication, every financial transaction, every ship movement. If someone tries to start the old corruption again, we will know immediately. That sounds like we are becoming dictators, Admiral Song pointed out. Perhaps, Han admitted. But what is the alternative? Go back to the old system and wait for someone else to abuse our kindness? Xenocide Prevention Officer Sunmi Park had been thinking about this problem for weeks. There is a middle path, she said. We can allow species to earn back their independence over time. Explain. We divide the galaxy into trust levels. Species that prove they can govern themselves peacefully and honestly get more freedom. Species that cause problems get more supervision. It rewards good behavior and punishes bad behavior. Han liked this idea. How long would it take for a species to earn full independence? That depends on them. Some might prove themselves in 20 years. Others might need a century or more. And some might never be trusted with independence again. The plan they developed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity would not just be the military power. They would be the teachers, judges, and parents of galactic civilization. Every species would be assigned a human administrator who would oversee their government and economy. These administrators would have absolute authority to stop any activity that threatened peace or promoted corruption. All military forces except human forces would be disbanded. Weapons manufacturing would be controlled by humans. Space travel between systems would require human approval. Education would be reformed to teach the history of galactic corruption and the importance of cooperation over competition. Every child of every species would learn about the consequences of betraying trust. Most importantly, humans would control all advanced technology. Species could earn access to better technology by proving they would use it responsibly. But the most dangerous weapons would remain under human control forever. Some will say we are being too harsh, Admiral Song worried. And others will say we are being too lenient. Han replied. The important thing is that we build a system that works. The old galaxy failed because it rewarded selfishness and punished kindness. The new galaxy will do the opposite. As human ships spread across the galaxy to begin the reconstruction, they carried with them the tools to rebuild civilization from the ground up. But they also carried the weapons to destroy anyone who tried to return to the old ways. Fleet Admiral Chang Ho monitored the deployment from Earth. All sectors are reporting successful establishment of human authority, he told General Han. We now have effective control over 847 star systems containing 312 surviving species. How many species were lost completely? Han asked. 43 were destroyed for war crimes. Another 92 were so damaged by the wars that their civilizations collapsed. 5 years had passed since the Great War ended. The galaxy was quiet now, but it was not the peaceful quiet of the old days. It was the quiet of a classroom where everyone had learned to behave. Admiral Kim, now Supreme Commander of Galactic Operations, stood in his office on the space station that orbited Earth. Through his window, he could see ships from dozens of different species coming and going, all of them flying human flags alongside their own. Commander, his assistant said, Ambassador Park is here for the monthly report. Kim smiled. So young Park had returned to diplomatic service, but her new job was very different from her old one. Instead of begging alien governments to cooperate, she was now the director of galactic rehabilitation, with authority over every non-human government in the galaxy. So young, Kim said as she entered his office. How is the reconstruction going? Park sat down and opened her computer tablet. Better than we hoped, but not as fast as we wanted, she said. Let me give you the numbers. The Kepan Republic has completed its first year of supervised government. Their human administrator reports that corruption has dropped by 98%, and their economy is actually growing for the first time in decades. Good news. What about the others? The Macarani Trade Federation is doing well. They fully cooperated with reparations and have been very helpful in tracking down remaining criminal networks. I think they will be ready for Level 2 trust status next year. Level 2 was an important milestone in the human system. Species started at Level 5, complete supervision with no independence. As they proved they could govern themselves honestly, they could advance to higher trust levels. Level 1 species had almost complete freedom, while Level 5 species were essentially under human occupation. Any problems? Kim asked. The Terralan Syndicate is still struggling. Their entire economy was based on illegal activities for so long that they do not know how to function legally. Their human administrator thinks it will take at least 20 years before they can advance from level 5. Kim nodded. That was about what they had expected. Some species would adapt quickly to honest government, while others might take generations to change their culture. What about the species that were truly innocent? He asked. They are all doing very well. Most of them have already reached level 2 or 3. The Rilani survivors, what few are left, have been given level 1 status immediately. They earned it. Park's expression became sad when she mentioned the Rilani. They had been the species that started everything. Peaceful farmers who were murdered while the galaxy watched and did nothing. Only a few thousand Rilani had survived the Vorthak attacks, and they now lived under direct human protection. Any requests for independence reviews? Kim asked. 17 this month. Most are not ready, but the Fenari Collective might be. They have maintained honest government for 4 years now. Their economy is stable, and they have been very helpful in providing information about other criminal networks. The independence review process was how species could earn back their freedom. They had to prove that they could govern themselves without corruption, that they would not threaten other species, and that they understood the lessons of the old galaxy's failures. What about resistance movements? Park's expression darkened. 3 species are still harboring underground groups that want to return to the old ways. The Zarkari Confederation, the Helix Federation, and the Outer Rim Coalition. How serious are these groups? Not very. They mostly just complain about human authority and dream about the days when they could exploit weaker species. But we are watching them carefully. Kim was not surprised. Some species would never truly accept that the old ways had been wrong. They would always believe that humans had stolen their rightful place as galactic leaders. Any terrorist activities? 2 minor incidents this month. Someone tried to sabotage a human supply ship near the Zarkari system. No one was hurt, and we captured the terrorist within hours. How did the local population react? That is the encouraging part. The other Zarkari citizens turned in the terrorists themselves. They said they did not want to lose their level 3 status because of a few troublemakers. Kim smiled. That was exactly how the system was supposed to work. Species would police themselves because they understood that their freedom depended on their behavior. A communication signal came through on Kim's desk computer. Sir, his assistant said, there is an urgent message from the Outer Rim sectors. Put it through. The face of Captain Tae-Ho Lee appeared on the screen. He was now in charge of border security for the human-controlled galaxy. Commander Kim, Lee said, we have detected ships approaching from outside our controlled space. They appear to be refugees from the Andromeda Galaxy. Kim felt a chill. The Andromeda Galaxy was much larger than their own Milky Way, with billions more stars and potentially millions of alien species. If refugees were fleeing from there, something terrible must have happened. How many ships? Kim asked. 47 vessels carrying approximately 2 million beings. They are requesting asylum and protection. Any communication about what they are fleeing from? Yes, sir. They say their galaxy has been taken over by something called the Devourers, machine intelligences that consume entire worlds and turn them into more machines. Kim looked at Park, who was listening with growing concern. Captain Lee, Kim said, bring the refugee fleet to the Sol system under escort. We will interview their leaders and decide what to do. Yes, sir. After the communication ended, Park looked worried. If these Devourers are as dangerous as the refugees claim, they might follow them here. Then we will deal with them the same way we dealt with every other threat, Kim said calmly. The galaxy is under human protection now. That means we protect it from everything, not just internal threats. 3 days later, the refugee fleet arrived at Earth. Their ships were unlike anything humans had seen before. Strange, organic-looking vessels that seemed to be grown rather than built. The beings inside were equally strange. Some looked like walking plants, others like living crystals, and a few were just clouds of intelligent gas. The refugee leader was a being that looked like a cross between a spider and a tree. It communicated through chemical signals that human computers had to translate. Humans of Earth, the translation said, we come seeking sanctuary from the greatest evil our galaxy has ever known. The Devourers appeared 50 years ago from beyond the galactic rim. They consume everything, planets, stars, even space itself. They have destroyed thousands of civilizations. How did you escape? Kim asked. We were part of a great alliance that tried to fight them. We failed. Only a few ships from each species managed to escape before our worlds were consumed. Are the Devourers following you? We do not know. They are unlike anything we have ever encountered. They do not communicate, they do not negotiate, they simply consume everything in their path. Park stepped forward. Why did you come to our galaxy? We had heard stories of the great human empire that brought peace to the Milky Way. We hoped that beings powerful enough to unite an entire galaxy might be able to help us. Kim considered this carefully. If the Devourers were as dangerous as described, they represented a threat unlike anything humanity had ever faced. But that was exactly why they had to be stopped. You may stay in our galaxy, Kim decided. We will provide worlds for you to rebuild your civilizations. In return, you will tell us everything you know about the Devourers. You would protect us, the refugee leader asked in surprise. We protect everyone in this galaxy now, Park said. That is what it means to be under human authority. Over the following months, the refugees were settled on empty worlds throughout human space. Their knowledge of Devourer technology and tactics was studied by human scientists and military leaders. What they learned was disturbing. The Devourers were not a species in any normal sense. They were a form of artificial intelligence that had escaped all control. They could turn any matter into more of themselves, growing stronger with every world they consumed. Engineer Ko, now head of human weapons development, worked day and night to find countermeasures. The good news, he reported to the leadership, is that they are machines. Machines can be hacked, disrupted, or destroyed with the right technology. The bad news? General Han asked. They have had 50 years to perfect themselves while consuming an entire galaxy. By now they may be more powerful than anything we can imagine. How long before they might reach our galaxy? Kim asked. If they are following the refugees, they could arrive within 10 years. If they are just expanding randomly, we might have a century or more. Then we prepare for 10 years, Han decided. I would rather be ready too early than too late. The news of the Devourer threat was shared with every species in the human-controlled galaxy. The response was immediate and unanimous. Every government offered to help build defenses and weapons to fight the coming invasion. For the first time since the human conquest, all species were working together toward a common goal. The threat from outside had united them in a way that no amount of human authority could have achieved. It is ironic, Park observed to Kim one day. The old galaxy could never unite because everyone was competing with each other. Now facing our